right, y'all. My name is Lucas, and as of Crown Jewel 2023, we have a new United States champion, and it is internet megastar, social media icon, Logan Paul. And love him or hate him, he has really made a name for himself in the WWE. And that gave me the idea to do a new top 10 video, and that is top 10 celebrity in-ring performers. Now, celebrities have always had a big place in professional wrestling, whether it be promoting things, hosting, acting as a manager, or a distraction. But for this list, I've only included celebrities who have participated in a match as a wrestler. So no managers, no interference, and it has to be some sort of official match on the card. So that narrows it down a bit. You won't see the likes of Kim Kardashian, who I guess hosted or helped host one of the WrestleManias. No Donald Trump, Battle of the Billionaires. We'll probably do that one in another video. Have to have performed in the ring in a match. And yeah, so if you like this type of stuff, if you like wrestling content, trying to crank out a lot of these different things, narratives, reviews. If you like that, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, and yeah, we'll get right into it today with our honorable mentions. Going right into our honorable mentions, we have one of my guilty pleasure ones, and that is Snooki's appearance at WrestleMania 27, where she teamed with John Morrison and Trish Stratus and faced off against the team of Lay Cool and Dolph Ziggler. And you know what? For what it was, I was a big Jersey Shore fan. It's fun, stupid, kind of out of control, like wrestling.
I'm not trashy, unless I drink too much.
So I thought she fit right in. They had the unfortunate task of following Undertaker and Triple H in their no-holds-barred match, which was easily the match of the night. A lot of people probably took a bathroom break during this, and I don't blame them. But it wasn't the worst match on the card. That goes to that awful Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler debacle that they threw on the biggest event of the year for some reason. This match was the second to last match of the night, and the finale was that Miz John Cena advertisement for WrestleMania 28 with The Rock. So they did a good job. Snooki flipped around. She did a Snooki smash, a splash or whatnot. She did a cartwheel. So Snooki did a great job, and yeah, she's definitely an honorable mention. Our next honorable mention is David Arquette of Scream fame, who actually won the WCW World Heavyweight title back in the day. And you might be saying, how did that not get him on the top 10? And that's because this is top 10 WWE celebrity wrestlers. So he did a lot of his wrestling in WCW and on the indie scene. But I do acknowledge he's a pretty legit wrestler when it comes down to it, and appeared on one episode of Monday Night Raw where he teamed with Alex Riley against Randy Orton, and Randy absolutely ran through them and threw David through a table. So he's going to be an honorable mention because he hasn't had much WWE screen time and whatnot, but I do acknowledge he is a pretty legit wrestler. Our final honorable mention is none other than legendary hip-hop artist Snoop Dogg, who has been a wrestling fan for quite a while. He was the master of ceremonies at WrestleMania 24, has participated on Monday Night Raw as a guest GM multiple times, always been around the sport. But this last year at WrestleMania 39, he finally qualified for this list, officially having a match. Now, this wasn't what was supposed to happen, as Snoop Dogg and The Miz were both hosting WrestleMania Goes to Hollywood, and Snoop Dogg surprised The Miz with an impromptu match where he would be facing off against Shane McMahon, son of owner Vince McMahon. Shane comes out, starts duking around the ring a little bit, and just like his father at the Royal Rumble 15 or so years ago, blows out his quads and goes down. Thinking quickly on his feet, Snoop Dogg decides to fill in for Shane. It's not much of a match, but it's still a match technically. Snoop Dogg steals some plays from The Rock's playbook and hits The Miz with the people's elbow a couple times and pins The Miz, giving him a WrestleMania victory. Also, interestingly enough, Snoop Dogg is the cousin of former WWE superstar Sasha Banks, or as some people know her, Mercedes Moné. So yeah, Snoop Dogg, definitely an honorable mention. He's been part of WWE for a while now. Now let's get into our actual list. Let's go.
You just made the list!
In our 10th spot, we've got the baddest man on the planet, Iron Mike Tyson. And with that horrible Mike Tyson impression out of the way, which I promise I won't ever do that again. But yes, Mike Tyson is going to take our 10th spot. His in-ring work is very, very minimal at best. But his overall contribution to wrestling and the WWE in general goes much further than that. So we'll get into that right now. So in the build-up for WrestleMania 14, Vince McMahon was looking to make this the greatest extravaganza in the world. Wrestling had been on kind of a downhill trajectory in the mid-90s. So we're going into the late 90s now, and Vince McMahon was like, okay, how do we make this show seem bigger than it is? You know who can help with that? The biggest athlete, one of the most famous athletes in the world at that time, Mike Tyson, heavyweight boxing champion. So Mike Tyson is in the build-up for WrestleMania. He's backing DX and Shawn Michaels and feuding a little bit with the up-and-coming rising star of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Iron Mike Tyson is eventually made the special enforcer for WrestleMania 14, where we get to see the retirement match of Shawn Michaels versus the up-and-coming Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold will get the victory, and Mike Tyson will be the one to count to 3 after the match. We all thought Mike Tyson was on the side of DX, but lo and behold, he was secretly in Stone Cold's corner and delivers a knockout blow to Shawn Michaels. Then he would infamously drape a Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt over Michaels' face, which really upset Shawn Michaels. And even after the show, during the press conference, Shawn Michaels wanted to go backstage and confront Mike Tyson. Thankfully, he was held back because I do not think that would have ended well for the Heartbreak Kid. But lo and behold, this whole moment at WrestleMania 14 is often considered the start of the Attitude Era, the era that saved wrestling. So that's pretty big, and I think that is deserving of being on the list, even though his in-ring work is forgettable. So Mike Tyson has only ever had one real match, and that was at a 2010 Raw where he would team with Chris Jericho against DX. The whole point of him being at Raw in the first place, I think, was to promote the new Hangover movie. He wasn't in the best shape at this time either, but he comes out with Chris Jericho. He doesn't really do much in the match other than kind of jostle around with the wrestlers. Eventually, Hornswoggle runs out and interrupts the match. It looks like Jericho and Tyson are going to beat up on Hornswoggle, and lo and behold, Mike Tyson turns out to secretly be on DX's side this time around and knocks out Chris Jericho and ending the match. So that is his only in-ring match, so I can't put him any higher than 10, but I believe that his contributions to launching the Attitude Era make him deserving of being on the top 10 list, even if his in-ring work is not great, but he helped save wrestling, so I gotta give it to him. In our 9th spot, we have world famous actor Stephen Amell, who, for those of you who are like me and don't know who that is, he is the star of the hit CW series Arrow, in which he plays the Green Arrow. Now, DC and superhero stuff, not really my scene, but if it's yours, great, power to you. I mean, heck, I like pro wrestling, so we all have our thing. However, Stephen Amell did have a pro wrestling match at SummerSlam 2015 in which he partnered with Neville against Wade Barrett, or King Barrett at the time, and Stardust, now Cody Rhodes. And it's a solid tag team match. Steven was flying around the whole match. He felt like he was just another wrestler. Didn't get any special treatment or walked through the match like sometimes you see with celebrities in the ring. Flying around, even did a couple high-risk spots. Solid job on Steven's part. Apparently he was part of the American Ninja Warrior contest and competed in that. So I'm not surprised this came a bit more natural to him. And he did a great job. So props to Stephen Amell. Never seen your show. Probably won't ever see your show. Probably like you won't ever see this video. But you did a great job wrestling, and I wouldn't mind seeing you in the ring again. Coming in at number 8, we've got Floyd Money Mayweather in his pretty fun match against The Big Show at WrestleMania 25. 24. Now on paper, this match doesn't really make any sense. You have the Big Show, who they market as the world's largest athlete, 7 foot, about 450 pounds, so just a massive man, versus Floyd Mayweather, billed as the greatest fighter in the world, being that he was an undefeated championship, I believe, welterweight boxer at the time. But he is merely 5'8", 150 pounds, and they're going to face off in a wrestling ring. They make it work, though. I thought this was a really fun match, and I think it kind of got lost in the shuffle of WrestleMania 24, which I think is a pretty stacked card. So this match actually followed the triple threat match between Randy Orton, John Cena, and Triple H, and this match had to open pretty much for The Undertaker and Edge. So I think a lot of people forget it, but I went back and rewatched it the other day, and it's a lot of fun. Floyd's entrance is really entertaining. He comes out with this huge entourage of guys. These are some big guys too. They look like they should be the ones fighting the Big Show and not little Floyd. But Floyd's coming out. He's got his boxing gloves on. He's got these big furry pants on. It's raining money. Shades of the Trump entrance at WrestleMania 23. So just a really fun entrance. He gets down to the ring. He's getting booed too. Floyd is the heel this entire match, and it's usually not the case that the celebrity would be a heel, with the exception of a couple on this list, but Floyd is definitely the heel. He's getting booed, and he does a great job at it. There's even a point in the match where him and his guys attempt to pull out of the ring and leave the arena, and the Big Show runs him down and throws him on the ground. It's great. There's a lot of entertaining spots in this match too. Some of the entourage gets involved. Big Show hits this one guy with a massive chop. He's tossing guys around. Floyd gets a little action in there. They get the brass knuckles involved eventually. There's even a couple chair shots, a few to the head, which we don't see much nowadays. So a lot. The in-ring work was, the match is a little tad too long and drags on a bit, but I think ultimately it serves its purpose. It was entertaining. Floyd was a good heel. The Big Show needed to do what he needed to do, and ultimately I think it was a solid match. It finishes with the Big Show eventually being knocked down for a 10 count after Floyd uses the brass knuckles on him. So a good match, and you know what? I'll say it. Floyd Mayweather is definitely a better wrestler than he is a reader. In our number 7 spot, if you didn't pick it up from my beautiful vocalized rendition of the guitar riff, we have the Jackass Crew. And if you want to just make it one member, I'll do Johnny Knoxville because he's had an actual match. But the Jackass guys do have a bit of a legacy in WWE. First time we got to see him was way back in 2006 on an episode of Raw. Chris Pontius and Steve-O would come out to the ring hoping to promote the second Jackass movie, and that's where things went south for them. Originally, they were just supposed to promote the movie. However, Vince McMahon was like, nah, we're gonna have these guys wrestle. If they're out there, they're wrestling somebody. So out comes the Samoan bulldozer, Umaga. And Umaga absolutely destroys Steve-O and Chris Pontius. It was supposed to originally just be a few moves, but Steve-O didn't understand the point of staying down and selling, so Umaga decided to basically knock him out for real. So kind of a funny and very Jackass moment on Monday Night Raw. The next time we would see the Jackass guys on WWE programming was in the lead up to WrestleMania 38, where Johnny Knoxville, to promote another Jackass movie, Jackass Forever, he would enter the Royal Rumble, where he would be eliminated by his eventual WrestleMania opponent, Sami Zayn, who basically hated the idea of these Jackass guys coming into his sport. So he basically decided to make a Jackass segment of his own called In Zayn, where he would tase himself on Raw and do other Jackass-esque stunts, eventually culminating in their WrestleMania 38 Anything Goes match. In the lead up to this match, Johnny Knoxville hilariously had Sami Zayn's phone number flown across in one of those like tacky airplanes with the banner across the LA sky, kind of added to the build. People were calling Sami Zayn, or at least a phone number they said was Sami Zayn's number. And at WrestleMania, we finally got the match. And it was overall a really fun and creative match. Was it some in-ring technical masterpiece? Absolutely not. There were some crazy spots with mouse traps on a table that Sammy would eventually go through, a little boot nut kicker thing that Sammy would take. Then there was also a couple of guest appearances from Chris Pontius would come out and strip down to a very revealing Speedo for the Dallas crowd to, well, enjoy, I guess. And then finally, the biggest pop of the entire match is when Wee Man appears from under the ring and attacks and even body slams him. A move that he learned from, well, Brock Lesnar, apparently. As Brock Lesnar slammed Wee Man through a table at like a Sheraton or some sort of hotel bar in an absolutely crazy viral moment. Overall, the match was a lot of fun. I applaud their creativity. There were a couple botched spots, like the final pin. They have a giant mousetrap closed down on Sammy, and it didn't go off the first time, so Johnny had to like manually set it off. But it was a fun match. The Jackass guys had fun with it. If you're not a fan of Jackass and what these guys do, you're probably not going to love this segment. I thought it was fun for what it was. A lot of dick shots and dick jokes. So normal jackassery. I got to give it to them. It was really unique. Wasn't a masterpiece, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. And coming in at number 6, we have 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 10-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champion with 132.5 career sacks, Lawrence Taylor, the NFL Hall of Famer, who would end up main eventing WrestleMania 11. And if there's any man crazy enough to be able to pull this one off, it was LT. I mean, just look at this guy. Now, how this all started was at the 1995 Royal Rumble. LT got into it verbally with wrestler Bam Bam Bigelow, and from there the match was set for WrestleMania 11. Now, as far as main events at WrestleManias go, this is not one of the better ones, but I think they made the best of it. I mean, they threw him on there as the main event. The entrances are cool. LT comes to the ring with his all-pro team. He's got guys like Ken Norton, Ricky Jackson, and Reggie White come out to the ring with him, and they've all got these cool LT WrestleMania shirts, which I honestly kind of want to get my hands on one. And the match is hard-hitting. There's no way Bam Bam Bigelow was not sore as can be after this match. I know wrestlers are supposed to protect one another, but LT is not a wrestler. This is the linebacker that changed football forever, and he hits Bam Bam with all his power on some of these moves. So props to Bam Bam Bigelow for going out there and putting over LT. I mean, just look at what LT did to Joe Theismann and ending his career, and think about what he could do if he was in a real fight. So match is okay, a lower end WrestleMania main event, but it was fun, and LT did a good job at making the moves look real, because I think he actually just hit the hell out of him sometimes. So yeah, we'll go with LT at number 6. All right, we are on to our top 5 celebrity wrestlers, famous people wrestlers, whatever we want to call it at this point. But these top 5, I believe, either are having, have had, or could have had really successful wrestling careers. So let's get right into it with our number 5 selection. And I pity the fool who doesn't know our number 5. That's right. We are going with Mr. T as our number 5 on the list. Mr. T, made famous in an NBC competition, America's Toughest Chain Man. He used to wear the big chain. And then would later launch himself into stardom, starring in Rocky 3 as the villainous Clubber Lang, who, if you haven't seen Rocky 3 in a while, go watch it. Mr. T is incredible in that. Extremely intimidating. So he fit right into the wrestling world, and luckily for him, he was good buddies with Hulk Hogan. So in the lead up to WrestleMania 1, that's right, WrestleMania 1, the first one ever, would pit Hulk Hogan and Mr. T against Mr. Wonderful and Roddy Rowdy Piper in a tag team match in Madison Square Garden. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T have a lot of good chemistry throughout the match. It's no spectacular match, but it got eyes on the TV. You got Mr. T, you got Hulk Hogan. They got a lot of star power, and then you've got 2 good heels in Mr. Wonderful and Roddy Piper. And the match is solid. There's good back and forth. Mr. T is pretty good in the ring. Like I said, I think if he had stuck with wrestling, he could have been a really successful wrestler. He would have made a great heel or a decent face too because of his popularity already as B.A. Baracus on the A-Team. So he could have been a heel like Clubber Lang or a face like B.A. Baracus. They eventually end up winning the match and celebrating at the end. Later, Mr. T would make frequent appearances throughout wrestling. He would actually accompany Hulk Hogan in his WCW debut. Hulk Hogan would also appear on the A-Team as a special guest one episode, so that's neat. And later down the line, Mr. T would even find himself in the WWE Hall of Fame, which I think is a rightful spot for him. There's a lot of people in the Hall of Fame who've never even wrestled a match, so at least Mr. T had 2 wrestling matches. 1.5 really, because one of them was that tag team match. And the next year at WrestleMania 2, he was in one of the 3 main events where he would once again face off against Roddy Rowdy Piper. However, this one was a kind of pseudo boxing match and it wasn't very good, but we're still going to give Mr. T the number 5 spot for his contribution to the sport and helping get more eyes on wrestling in those early years. And number 4 on our list is a personal favorite of mine, and that is former Indianapolis Colts punter Pat McAfee, who has made quite the name for himself in his post-NFL career in a variety of different fields, including WWE, where he started as a commentator on NXT and later SmackDown, but has had 6 different matches over his career. His first match was in NXT against Adam Cole, where he looked really good. Granted, working with Adam Cole, a lot of people tend to look really good, but Pat would only improve with each match, as seen in his War Games match, as Team McAfee went up against the Undisputed Era in an awesome War Games match. And then eventually, Pat would get his WrestleMania moment. At WrestleMania 38, Pat would go up against the upstart Austin Theory with Vince McMahon in his corner. And Pat would put on a pretty solid match. Lots of high flying. He's not afraid to send a swanton. He's great at all these moves. Surprisingly athletic and agile for a punter, a position that is normally not seen as the most athletic position. But he killed it at WrestleMania, defeating Austin Theory, only to then immediately be defeated by the 70-plus-year-old Vince McMahon in an impromptu match. So props to you, Pat, for putting over a 70-year-old Vince McMahon, but it was entertaining. We would later see Pat go up against Happy Corbin at SummerSlam in another entertaining match. And then finally, we would see him this last year at WrestleMania 39 in another impromptu match set up by Snoop Dogg, in which Pat McAfee would make a special return and face The Miz, who he defeated as well. And I really just like how Pat presents himself, not only as a commentator, he's funny, he's honest, he says a lot of the things that us as audience members are probably thinking on commentary, so that's refreshing. And he's just good in the ring, so I'd like to see more of him. I know he's got a big ESPN contract, and we don't see a lot of him during the football season, but hopefully come post-Super Bowl this year, we'll get to see more of him in the lead-up to WrestleMania 40, and maybe even another match along the way. And now for our number 3 celebrity in-ring wrestler, and I'm going to have to go with the baddest woman on the planet, the first ever UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion, Ronda Rousey. And I know a lot of people don't really look fondly back at her time in the WWE, whether it be her lack of promo skills, perhaps her disdain for the product overall behind the scenes, but she did add some legitimacy. She was a legitimate fighter. She came into the WWE. She added a level of legitimacy to the women's division, kind of like how someone like Brock Lesnar adds it to the men's division. And she had some great matches along the way. Not all were great, such as her 2023 SummerSlam match against Shayna Baszler in that horrible fake MMA type match. I don't know what that was. Just looking at her debut at WrestleMania 34, where she teamed with Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. A very fun, exciting match. One of the better matches, I think, of that night. It was exciting. The crowd was involved. Lots of good spots. They even let her beat up on Triple H a little bit. So that was entertaining. I could see how some people didn't like her rowdy gimmick, thinking, oh, they're just remaking Rowdy Piper. But I thought she did okay with it. Over her career, she would win both the Raw Women's Championship, SmackDown Women's Championship, and win the Royal Rumble. So that's undeniable with her success there. She had some good matches along the way. Becky Lynch and Charlotte at WrestleMania 35. The Raw Women's Championship at Royal Rumble 2019 against Sasha Banks. That's a really solid match. So despite what you think of Ronda Rousey as a person or as a member of the wrestling world, I think it's undeniable to say that she was successful and pretty good in the ring as a WWE wrestler. It is now time for our number 2 spot, and I've got to give it to international sensation, rapper, hip-hop artist from Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny got his start in WWE back in 2021, where he basically sang the entrance to Booker T at the Royal Rumble, which was cool. And then later that night, The Miz would start his feud with Bad Bunny by flipping over his turntable, and eventually he would sabotage both The Miz and John Morrison, getting them eliminated by fellow Puerto Rican Damian Priest. In the months that followed, Bad Bunny would also capture the coveted 24/7 championship and hold that for a little bit. I gotta say, Bad Bunny is fantastic in the ring, and we really got to see that for the first time at WrestleMania 37, where him and Damian Priest went up against The Miz and Morrison in an awesome tag team match that really kind of blew the socks off a lot of people with how good Bad Bunny was in the ring. His finisher, the Bunny Destroyer, is absolutely nuts. If you haven't seen that move performed before, go look it up. It's crazy. Yeah, it takes a lot of help from the person taking the move, but it looks awesome. So a great match at WrestleMania 37. We would then see Bad Bunny again at the Royal Rumble in 2022, where he eliminated the likes of Sheamus and also put on another stellar match in the Rumble. And then again, we would see him at WrestleMania 39, where he would be involved in the Mysterio family feud. He would help Rey Mysterio in defeating Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and this would help ignite the feud between himself and former ally Damian Priest, which would all come to a head at Backlash 2023, which was just awesome. If you haven't watched his match at Backlash 2023 against Damian Priest in a San Juan street fight, go watch it. Even if you just watch it for Bad Bunny's entrance alone, the entrance is incredible. It's one of the best entrances I've ever seen. The entire crowd is singing along to his song. It's just an epic entrance, and the match lives up to the entrance. It's an awesome match. A lot of cool spots. You get to see that Bunny Destroyer again, and Bad Bunny is an awesome wrestler. I want to see more of him in the ring. I'd like to see him go up against our number 1 spot coming up here. But yeah, Bad Bunny is definitely number 2. Heck, he's even on the cover of one of the versions of WWE 2K23. So we got to give it to Bad Bunny as the number 2 best celebrity in-ring wrestler. Now, on to number 1. And now, finally, our number 1 spot on top 10 WWE celebrity in-ring performers. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because I mentioned him at the beginning of the video. That's right, the Maverick himself. Global social media superstar Logan Paul. And whether you absolutely despise Logan Paul or absolutely love him, there's no denying the impact that he's had on the WWE in the very short time that he's been involved. Logan would get his start at WrestleMania 37, simply just accompanying Sami Zayn to the ring, and then later getting stunned by Kevin Owens. But it wouldn't be till the next year's WrestleMania at WrestleMania 38 he would make his in-ring debut, and it was something special as he partnered with The Miz as his mystery partner against Dominic and Rey Mysterio, where The Miz and Logan would get the victory, launching his career off. He would later even fight Roman Reigns and take him to the limit at Crown Jewel in a pretty solid match. I think you can really throw Logan in there with anyone. He's really good. I don't know what else to say. We would then see him again at this year's 2023 Royal Rumble, where he had an absolutely insane spot with Ricochet, where they would launch from either side of the ropes and hit each other in midair, and it was incredible. It stole the show. It was the craziest part of the Rumble, in my opinion. And that would lead him to his WrestleMania match against Seth Rollins, which was an absolute banger of a match. Both guys great in the ring. The way that Logan has been able to learn so fast and just kind of pick up what it means to be a wrestler and work in the ring is incredible, because I can't get enough of watching him wrestle. We would then see him at the 2023 Money in the Bank match, which I thought he had a chance to win, but he ended up falling short in that, and Damian Priest ended up winning. But it was a short-lived fall from grace, as that match actually birthed the feud between him and Ricochet, and the two would meet at SummerSlam this past year, and what I think was clearly the match of the night, in a high-flying, flipping around, crazy match with Ricochet, where they would pull all the punches and land a bunch of really cool spots. And then finally, most recently, at 2023's Crown Jewel, Logan Paul would finally capture gold. And it wouldn't be the 24/7 throwaway championship like Bad Bunny, but the United States Championship from Rey Mysterio, which he now holds, and I'm very excited to see what they do with that. Will he have the belt come Mania? Heck, throw Bad Bunny in there for the U.S. title. That would be sweet. And then pass it off to a full-timer. I think Logan Paul is one of the best heels in the company right now. He's really easy to root against, and he does a really good job at it. Plus, he's great in the ring. He's great on the mic. He makes people not like him. He gets under their skin, not just the other wrestlers, but the fans, and that's what makes a good heel. So I want more of Logan Paul in the WWE. I know some people can't stand seeing him around, but I think he's great, and he's the definition of a great heel, and I think he's got a great future in professional wrestling. All right, so that is going to conclude our list of top 10 celebrity in-ring performers. Did I miss anybody? Like maybe Tyson Fury should have been on this list, because I totally forgot that match existed until I was already done. But whatever, maybe I missed some people. Who do you think is the best in-ring celebrity performer? Let me know in the comments below if you've made it this far and enjoyed it somewhat. We're like, not too bad. Go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. I'm trying to improve my editing skills, get better at these videos, and pump more out for y'all to enjoy. So if you enjoyed, you know the drill. And everyone have a great day, a great week, a great year, and see you later. Bye-bye.